How's it going, and welcome to the Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. This is going to be my second video about this, the Sonicake Matribox Pro, Sonicake's new flagship multi-effects processor and amp modeler. I'll get into this in a second. But before I do, as always, I'll ask you please like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you can be kept up to date every time I put out a new video. So, the Matribox, or the Matribox Pro as it is, Matribox II Pro. So, I made a video already, which I'll put up here, and it goes through the basic features, ins and outs, capabilities, talks about the touchscreen, and I set up 4 presets for a cover band and talk about using the unit in both preset and stomp box mode. Okay, I demonstrate the amp model I use and stuff like that, demonstrate some different effects. If you are the kind of player that uses, 3 or 4 different presets and then navigates within those presets, this video is not going to be of use to you, right? In this video, I go through way more in-depth functionality and capabilities of this. Just to give a bit of context, I play with an originals band called Kampala. In that band, I'm the singer and guitar player, and there's a lot of quite complex effects changes from song to song. So, I can't tap dance on effects pedals in that band. I'm the only guitar player, and I need to be able to make sweeping changes between verses and choruses of songs. So this video is about set lists, it's about presets, and it's about how well this unit is designed to cope with a complex set list and preset management type situation, right? So to demonstrate what I mean, the first thing I'm going to do is show you how I would use this unit. And by the way, I'm still talking about direct. It's very important. I'm not using an amp here. I'm using the amp models from this. So the intention is I'm going on a fly gig or something. I would throw this in a small case and bring it in my hand luggage, and I would be able to use this direct to the PA and to an amplifier to be able to, like a F4 or a cab basically on stage for monitoring. I'd be able to use this for all my tones in that gig, right? Okay, so the best way to do this, to demonstrate this, is to show it switching presets in a song. So what I've done is I've taken the backing track, the full backing track from the recording of one of our songs. I've taken out the guitars, and I'm going to use this unit on one guitar track to show how I would play guitar live to that track with this unit, right? So the song's called Modern Disease. You'll see I have 4 presets set up, and I go through those 4 presets throughout the song, and I go back and forth between them. This unit can cope with that really, really well, much better than the Matribox 2 could because of the extra switching and some other small features that it has that the Matribox 2 doesn't have. So here's the song, it's called Modern Disease. Have a listen and you'll see how this can handle a lot of different effect switching with one tap. Okay, so there you go. You can hear the Matribox allows me to switch from verse to chorus, to back to verse, back to chorus, to solo, and then to the big muff sound at the beginning and end of the song, all contained with one foot switch at a time, which is very, very important. So yeah, that's the kind of to show you what I'm about to demonstrate how to set up. Okay, before I do, there's no getting around the fact that this is going to be a long video. So I go into how to replicate your rig on this unit, right? So how to replicate your guitar, your amp and your pedals in a way that you can then take that and replicate it for all your different presets. And then secondly, once that's done, I actually give a demonstration really quickly as quick as I can, of all the different presets I have set up to show how the set list kind of scenario works in it. I'll put timestamps in the video description down below. It's really important because it's a long video. It's going to be well over half an hour. But I think if you do want to use it in this capacity, this video is really going to help in showing how capable this is of doing that, and also how to set it up to do that. Okay, so here's the audio demo of how to use set list kind of arrangement on the Matribox Pro and why it's really good at doing that. Okay, so how I'm going to go about this is I'm going to just talk about the software for a second, and then I'm going to talk to you about how I'm using the software to recreate my rig, right? And that's the main thing here is you do this logically. You're going to replace your entire guitar rig with this unit, right? You're going to replace your guitar, your amp, your pedals, and your cabinet to be able to do an entire set as you would do with your regular rig. So what you do is you recreate your rig, right? So, okay, that's the first thing I'm going to talk about. So this is the software interface for the Matribox, okay? You've got like the foot switch control here, you've got your drum machine here, you've got a pull down menu here for like global settings and stuff like that. You have a save button to save the preset, you've got the tempo of the preset, you've got the volume of the preset, and you've got your list of presets over here, okay? I'll get onto this preset in a second. As you can see here, starting at 35A, I have Mod Dis Intro, right? So Mod Dis Intro means this is Modern Disease, the first song in my band's set. It has an intro, verse, chorus, and solo, and that's the entire first bank, right? So I'm managing to get 12 songs in 6 banks, which is an average of 2 presets per song. But there's actually way more than 2 presets per song, and there's a particular functionality that the Matribox II Pro has that allows me to do this. Okay, so I'm going to get into that in a while, but the first thing I'll talk about is being able to build your own, recreate your own rig. So I'm starting off here and I have an amp and a cab. Actually the cab is an IOR, right? So the amp is a dark deluxe. And what that is it's a Fender Deluxe Reverb, right? I find that a Fender Deluxe Reverb is a really good pedal platform in most of these modeling software things. So it's a little bit dirty. If I'm on humbucker, but I would go to single coil. Right, this is, by the way, this is the Hagstrom Juice F. This is kind of one of the guitars I use a lot for recording and songwriting at home in Kampala, mainly because this can do single coil, humbucker, and it's tuned down a half step all the time. So, Dark Deluxe is my amp of choice here, and the settings are that the gain is at 34, the volume's at halfway. I didn't touch that, I took some bass back and left the treble where it was. So basically I reduced the gain, reduced the volume. Okay, in real life I use a Fender, what's it called? The Fender Bass Breaker 1830, which has the main clean channel on it is a Deluxe Reverb style clean channel. Then I have the Allure 64U. That particular IOR is available from Line 6's website, as are all of these ones here. They're part of a free IOR pack you can get from Line 6's website. I'm not an IOR aficionado. Once it sounds okay, I'm happy enough to use it. Okay, so that's the IOR. So the next thing I do then is add a reverb. As an overall reverb, I like something that's kind of unintrusive, and this is the room, or this studio reverb, or sorry, the club reverb. As you can see, there's a little bit of pre-delay on it. The decays are quite high. The low damp and high damp are at 50 and 79, and the mix is at 36. It's just like a real non-intrusive, nondescript reverb. And then I always have two delays. I have a modulated delay. I generally use that for atmospheric kind of stuff. And then I have a tape delay. This is an analog delay in this instance, and it's for more rhythmic stuff. Also, you'll see, if I turn off the sync and turn it back on again, this is set to a quarter notes, and on the mag it's set to dotted eighth. So this would be quarter notes, dotted eighth notes. Two really nice delays, okay? I would always have a tremolo, as I have one on my board. It's just I think it's just a standard tremolo. It's a sine tremolo. I have a rotary, because I always have a rotary. This is the CE rotor. I have the effects loop. And the reason I have this in is because I'm going to be copying all of these presets to use with an amp, in which case I'll be using the effects loop. I have the Timmy OD as my main heavy overdrive. Works really, really nicely. I'm just going to give it a bit more volume. And lastly, I have a fuzz, because I need one for this song, and this is the big muff. Now, I'm going to just go on to the big muff for a second. The tone's up quite high. The reason I have the tone up so high is because it's a bassy sounding big muff. Then I also have a compressor. With a respectable amount of squash, and then I have a gate. Now, so once I got all these sounds sounding the way I wanted to, I was like, right, that is a representation of my rig. Then I just started to build my presets. So for this first song, for example, right, I'm just going to go on to the next one, and it's going to ask me if I want to save, and I don't. So, do you want to save the preset? Cancel. Actually, I'm just going to do it here. So, to say build a song. So for this first song in the intro to it, which is the song I showed you at the beginning of the demo, right? I need a fuzz, a delay, and a reverb on, right? And I obviously need the amp and cab, and it sounds like so that's the fuzz, delay, and reverb. When I go to the second preset, I go into the verse. It's clean with the mag on. So the fuzz is off. In fact, it's a warm OD on this preset. It started off life as a warm OD, but then I changed it to a fuzz in the first preset because I needed a fuzz. So the comp is on, the fuzz is off, and is gone from the preset. The mag is on, and the reverb's on. That's the verse part. Then I get into the chorus, and now the Timmy is on, and the rotary's on, and the reverb's on. But again, the compressor's gone off. And then the last part of the preset that I need, not the last part of the song, and that's important. You don't make a preset for every time you change. You make a preset for every time there's a new sound, right? And there's 4 different sounds in this song, and this is a solo sound. And it works great, right? And what the solo sound is, it's the comp, the Timmy, the 999 echo, and obviously the amp and cab. The comp is giving it a bit more sustain. But without increasing the gain, which I like for the particular solo in this song. So that is the first set of presets for the first song. There are sufficient changes tonally between the 4 sounds in that song that I need 4 presets. But if I go down to the next bank now, and I'm not going to go through every preset, but I just want to show you the benefit of this, and I go onto my neck pickup. All that I need in this song is the same sound, clean and dirty, right? I don't need any modulation changes, any delay changes, anything like that. So as you'll see, this preset has been dramatically stripped out. And that's because in the first set of presets, I built my rig and I want to leave that there for when I want to copy and to make a new song, basically. But as soon as I started building new songs, I stripped all the superfluous effects out of the preset, right? So all this one needs is a compressor, an E-boost, the effects loop is still there, a dark deluxe amp, a magnetic delay, and an Allure cabinet, right? And this is in drop D. This is a song called Lonely Lives, and the intro goes like this. Okay, now the other preset I need that, but with this E-boost on. But what's amazing, if I go to preset settings and preset control, what preset control is what does the active presets foot switch do? So if I select preset 1, what happens when I hit preset 1 again? And in this case, it turns off the dynamic 1 and turns on the dynamic 2, which means it turns off the compressor and turns on the boost. So let me show you. Right now, I'm going to spin around here for a sec, because I'm going to be hitting the pedal. So right now, that's the preset as it stands. If I hit the preset button again, it turns on that E-boost. Goes to the humbucker in the back. So what that allows me to do is have two presets within one preset, which dramatically lowers the preset count. So I'll just jump on to another few presets where I use this functionality, and that should kind of explain the whole thing. And then I'll very quickly go down through the list of different songs and different presets to show you how compact I've made this thing. And it's worth mentioning that what I've arrived at as a result of all this is I can pick this Matribox up if we're playing away somewhere that I can't bring a rig with me, and I have my entire set programmed in, and that I know how it works, I know how it foot switches, and I can focus on singing, playing and performing, knowing that all of this is going to sound really, really good, because the Matribox sounds great and they've built some really great switching options into it. So I'll get into a few more presets, but I just wanted to make that point. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is just briefly run through. I'm going to go through more presets to show you how the whole set list put together in a second. But right now, I just want to briefly run through programming this stuff and what all the different programming options are. In this preset, I'm using the expression pedal as well, so I want to show that. Okay, so when you have all your effects that you need selected for this preset, right? There's two things you could do. You could opt to either change between stomp mode and preset mode, and then control 1, 2, 3, and 4 here are what happens when you hit stomp 1, 2, 3, and 4 when you're in stomp mode. I go through stomp mode and preset mode in the previous demo, so if you want to see how that works, you can look at that. So for example, if I was in stomp mode and I wanted the control 1 switch, the first foot switch, turn on drive, I would hit that. And if I hit that and that, this would only control 1 in stomp mode would only turn on and off. I'm not doing that because I tried to do it this way, but I couldn't get enough control. I couldn't make it work in a way that it would work for the situation I needed. So I'm doing it on a preset by preset change basis, not stomp mode, okay? Then the other things are you've all these expression controls. You've the knob functions, which I will need to program, which is basically the 3 knobs that you can see beneath the screen. You can make them represent whatever you want. So at a moment you can jump in and change it. Generally, I make it represent the gain of the amp, the gain of the pedal, and the overall patch volume. I find that they're the most handy things to have at your hand, so to speak. And then also there's this foot switch section where you can control what all the foot switches do when you tap them, which in this case in stomp mode is, well, it's basically control 1 to 4, but also I can have a secondary function when I hold them. And then there's also these combinations, so A and B activates the tuner, B and C does nothing, and C and D activates the looper. So they're all accessible at all times. All I'm doing, the only controls I'm using, because I'm staying in preset mode, are preset control, which I've gone through before, which is the active foot switch of the active preset, and then expression 1A. So in this instance, expression 1A, so the onboard expression pedal, when this patch is active, it controls the delay mix going from 29 to 50. So it's a subtle difference, but it does increase the level of the delay in the signal. So let me show you what I mean, right? So right now, I'll put the pedal in its heel position. This is the delay mix at 29. Right, which I have for most of the song. This is the song perfect goes with it. Then there's two functions. When I want to go into the chorus part of this, I hit the active foot switch and it turns on the tube screen. Actually, I think it's a warm drive. Let me just check that. Yeah, it's a warm OD. Let's put the warm OD on. Warm OD off. Overdrive off. Overdrive on. And here is the delay mix. So, low mix. It's slightly longer. It's controlling the feedback and the mix. And the reason for that is, there's a part in the song where I do this trilly thing where it goes out. And just for that one point, I want the delay mix up higher. So that's kind of what I want to discuss in this section, is how you can use the expression pedal and switches and how you program them to do these things within each preset to make even more, how would you describe it? More in-depth preset control from the face of the Matribox 2's controls without going into stompbox mode, which is what allows me to have such a small number of presets. So for the last part of this audio demo, I'm going to literally go through every single preset I have really, really quickly to show you how well the Matribox can handle all these multiple changes that I need to do. Okay, for the last part of the demo, what I'm going to do is go through all the sounds I have really, really quickly, just to show you the scope of switching ability of the Matribox, right? So, first song, as I mentioned, is called Modern Disease. Intro is a muff and a delay. Second sound is muff is off and a different modulated delay is on. The third sound turns off the modulated delay, turns on a rotary. And the fourth sound is a lead patch. Turns off the rotary, turns off all the delays and puts on two overdrives. An overdrive and a boost actually. Right, next song. So that's 4 patches in one song. The next song uses 1 patch. And it goes like this. For the intro, then it's the same in the verses. By the way, I should mention, all of these, you'll see in the top of the screen there, it says 130 beside the metronome. All of these patches are set to the time of the song. Okay, so the delay is perfectly in time for the song because we use tracks and a click. When I get into the chorus, I hit the same active preset switch again. It turns on the boost pedal. Tone was down on my guitar. That's all the sounds I need for that song. Next song, perfect. Still in drop D. I switch to a single coil on the bridge pickup, and the intro part goes like this. Comes to the heavy part in the chorus, where I go to a lead part, the kind of like a lead riff in the song. I hit the switch, it turns on the warm drive ahead of the Timmy that I have there. At this point, as I mentioned before, I use the pedal to push the delay into kind of more repeats for a longer time frame. It goes. Then for the end of the song, it switches off the delay and goes into a rotary. And then when that part of the song on, I hit the active switch again, it turns off the rotary. That's everything for that song. Next song's called Progress. Back in E. Neck pickup, single coil, starts off with a vibrato, a compressor, a delay and a reverb. Again, all timed to the song. Then when it comes into the riff part, I hit the boost switch. Back into the verse. Turns on the boost. All of that is in one preset using the foot switch to switch between the compressor on and the drive off to the compressor off and the drive on. So up to the next bank. We have quite a complicated one here. This starts off with an octaver doing an octave up, a uni vibe. And funnily enough, I experimented quite, you can see in the screen here, I experimented a lot with the order of the effect. So it starts off with the gate, then there's an octaver, then there's a uni vibe. So the octaver and the uni vibe are before the drive. Then there's the BB boost, and then there is the amp, reverb and cab. And so the intro of this song sounds like this. I'm going to turn myself up in the room a little bit. It hits the switch, it turns off the octaver and the drive. You can hear and the mix of the uni vibe is on the expression pedal. I'd forgotten that. So back to the first. Hit the switch, turns off the octaver and the drive for the verse part. Right. Then we come to the verse or the middle eight in the song. Hit the switch, pull the expression pedal back, and it's just the drive pedal. Back into the first patch. Just amazing. So then we go on to another one where this is all on one patch. Actually, it's two patches. It's just a clean sound with a tremolo on. The song's called Home Away From Home. Stays on that for the whole thing, but when I hit the switch, it hits a boost. So active preset switch again, hits the boot. And then there's one part where it turns off everything and just gives me a fuzz and an amp. Two presets for that song. Up again. So I'm on the fourth bank now, and this one starts off with a fuzz. If I hit the switch, I don't think anything happens in this one. Yeah, that's just a fuzz on that. Go into the next patch and it's a clean of the same, it's the same patch but the fuzz is off and a really carefully timed 16th note delays on. It's the verse part. When I get into the middle of the verse, I hit the switch and it turns on an EQ and a boost to give me a little bit of a boost and a little bit of a mid push for that kind of like clean solo section. And it's just back to the full sound for the chorus. All done with 2 switches again. Next song is called Constant Circus. There's a big lift on this one. It starts off with an octaver going down and a big muff and so it has a drive, a big muff. Sorry, it has an EQ to give the big muff a bit more kind of mid-range. Then it has the big muff, and then it has the octaver, but this time the octaver is after the drive pedal because it worked better that way. You got to experiment with the order of these things. And then we just have the amp, same amp as always, the reverb and the gate and the cab. So the song starts off. Then when it comes into the verse, I hit the switch and turns off the octave lead and the EQ, I think. Yeah, just gives me to the muff with less mid push, so it'll sit back more in the mix and the verse part because of this. So when it comes to the chorus of this song, what happens is 2 delays come on. And it goes into this kind of rhythmic, funky kind of picking part that goes. Then it comes into this low picking part, where the whole band drops down and the 2 delays give me loads of atmosphere. And then it hangs. And we're back into the fuzz. Again, all that with 2 patches because of the current switch thing. It's just brilliant. So then on to the next bank, which I think is the last one. Kangaroo starts off with a big reverb and a big delay and the single coil. Comes to the chorus, it just hits the switch, it turns on a drive pedal. Middle of the song, changes key from A minor to B minor, goes into a big huge fuzz phaser part. And that's that whole song contained on 2 presets again. Then this last one, I won't go through any more than this, I've gotten pretty exhausted at this stage. This last one starts off with a really carefully timed delay. When I hit the switch, it leaves the delay on but turns on tremolo. And when I hit the next preset, it turns on a EQ and a OCD for this riff part in the song that goes like this. that switch again, it turns off the EQ, which makes the drive less pronounced, and it goes into like a verse part with a really carefully timed delay again to go. And then it goes to the chorus. I think there's one more bank of songs. So I won't go through the last bank of songs, you get the idea. It took me about 4 hours altogether to program all of that. All the tempos are programmed in per song. I have roughly, I think at this stage, I'd need to tweak it slightly, made sure that all the levels make sense from song to song and from song part to song part. Like there's one part I noticed on Constant Circus where the octave or fuzz was louder, and without the octave or fuzz I'd have to tweak that. But 4 hours, entire set programmed in, put this on the floor at a fly gig, plug it into the PA, get it in my ears, happy days. And I know everything is set up the way it is. It's in the right order of the way we play our set. And even if it's not, it's really easy to scroll around and find the next song should we decide to move something around. So without any external foot switches, as a standalone unit, it has enough foot switches, and with that current preset foot switch thing, you can really get through an entire set in a manageable number of presets. Add in the expression pedal to control little nuanced things within presets, and it really is a very, very capable piece of gear. So I think I would literally like throw this in a gig bag, throw it in my wardrobe for the next time I'm going away to play a show where I need a like direct solution, and I would just leave it there for that purpose. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing in next week's video, but I'm going to throw a pedal in the loop, and I might throw a volume pedal in as a second expression pedal and show you how you would run it into the front of an amp. So turn all the amp sims off and use the external pedal as your overdrive / distortion sound. And I've discovered a little trick that you can use to get different levels of gain out of the same pedal set the same way. So I'm going to just kind of talk about that in the next video. So yeah, that's how you set up your rig. Is the first thing you have to do. Get it sounding the way you like it, and get the basic effects you need in the correct order that you need, and make sure that's all sounding right and sounding comfortable to you. Then copy that from song to song and figure out what switching needs you need, and then use the preset settings menu to be able to get your switching sorted out. Do all that, and I think you can play a really, really brilliant set where everything's timed perfectly if you're using tracks, and the switching is all set up to be really easy and handy and manageable. So well done, Sonicake. This is a significant step above the Matribox 2 in terms of like being a pro spec piece of gear that you can gig with. So there you go. As you can see, things like the 4 foot switches, the expression pedal, this side the expression pedal, and the bank up and down switches, and particularly the ability to create a preset within a preset with the current number active preset foot switch, being able to change things within the active preset. This is a really well designed piece of kit. There's a little thing I want to say here, and again, I said this in the last video, this is not exclusive to Sonicake's decision making in terms of what they do and don't include in an effects unit. This is the Matribox II Pro. Now, to me, Pro means that it's set up for people who gig, right? If it was me designing this, I would have had extensive MIDI functionality on MIDI out, like PC and CC commands assignable within each preset. I think that's a pro feature that this should have. And secondly, I would just ditch the drum machine. The drum machine is useful for playing at home. The looper sure is useful in a gigging scenario, especially if you're doing a gig by yourself. But I think the drum machine has a place on the Matribox 2 because it's a smaller unit. It's, I think, more suited towards beginners. I think you can almost totally perfectly gig with this. If it had better MIDI functionality out, this would be a faultless unit. But again, I don't want to criticize Sonicake on that because Hotone don't do it, Nux don't do it, Moore don't do it. None of them put the ability to assign MIDI PC commands on the MIDI out of these units, which I just find baffling. And I have no use for a drum machine and a multi-effects unit. I have a drummer, or if I'm using drum samples, I'm using them as part of backing tracks, which is a much safer way of using them than using a drum machine on this. The drum machine is for people who play at home and want to accompany themselves, and yeah, there's a benefit to that, but I think if it's called Matribox 2 Pro, and it's the Pro version of the Matribox 2, I don't think it needs a drum machine. That's just my thoughts on the situation. So to sum up about this, I'll be making one more video where I'm using it through an amplifier and I'm using an effects pedal in the loop and showing you how you can use certain functionality within this to make it a giggable amp-based rig, okay? That'll be the next video, and that'll be the last video. So far, it's very impressive. I think the tones are great, the effects are great, and it's unbelievably affordable for what it is. So well done, Sonicake, and I hope this video was useful for people who want to use this in a more sort of complex kind of way, which is how I would definitely use it. So, hope that video was of value for people. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out massively. If you have any questions that I can help with, throw them in the comment section down below. I'll be happy to answer them. So that's it. I guess I'll see you in the next video about this, or another video again soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.